This video is going to be a little different from what I usually do. This video is going to be like a more serious note, because it's something that actually like terrified me. Before I start, I want to say I apologize. I usually upload like maybe 3 times a week, but I was sick first off, and of course I need to get my health back together before I do anything. I am better now, so yeah, work with me please. As you know, this video is me telling my story of surviving a stalker. And before you even think like it, I don't think it was that bad to where I could say surviving a stalker, but it wasn't good at all. So how this came about was I was working at a movie theater that I will not disclose. Only like people that worked with me and close friends know what theater that was. But I was working in a movie theater, and it started with one of my good friends. And first it started when I was at work on a weekday. Typically on weekdays, they will only have 1 to 2 people working at night, meaning staff-wise. They will always have a manager there, but only 1 to 2 people, employees, working the floor. So it will be one person working the box office, meaning selling tickets, and it will be that same person working concession after maybe like 7 o'clock. Also, they would have only one person working the floor, meaning going clean the theaters, make sure the theater's okay before the next. I was working concession and box office. It was like maybe 8 o'clock, between 8 and 9, because the other person that was working concession with me left. There was a man that walked in, and at the time I was the only one on the floor because there were movies that already had started. There were no set times where movies were beginning, no time soon. So I'm sitting there, making sure everything's straight for the next, what we call rush, where they're like all the movies starting. I'm making sure, concessions clean, getting all the buckets, all my materials, everything that I need for the next rush, because it was going to be the final rush at that. But a guy walks in, and he asked, like, first he was friendly, he was hello, I'm like, hello, I'm being friendly because, you have to at work. But I'm like, hello, how can I help you? I thought he was coming to buy tickets, because people come buy tickets for a later showing. That way when the movie actually starts and people starts coming, they don't have to wait in line. He was like, oh no, I was seeing if, I don't want to give her name away even though she wouldn't care. I was seeing if, I'm gonna call her Alyssa. I was seeing if Alyssa was here, and I'm like, no, she's not here. And it threw me off when he was like, oh, so you're the only one working? I was like, yes. And he was like, are you a manager? And I'm like, no. And he was like, okay, good. Well, Alyssa, she usually gives me free tickets. And I'm like, I'm not sure if that's true or not, but no, I can't do that right now. I can't do that at all, point blank period. And I just felt like this weird vibe from him, cause he looked, I don't want to say he looked weird, because you can't really put weirdness on someone, but if you would have looked at this guy, he looked weird. Like, he had like hair, like his hair was long. It was like, not long like long, but it was like out everywhere, like going different kinds of ways. And the way he was dressed, it was like a little kid. Like, it was some odd stuff. I just remember him like sitting there for a little bit and trying to make conversation with me, and I thought it was just him being friendly to try to, get those free tickets out of me. So I'm like, I'm like, going back and forth with him, and he's talking about different movies he's seen, all the movies that he's seen in the theater. I'm like, I seen that too. He's like, oh, cool. So he left. Later on, I don't remember how long it went by, but he came back But before he came back, that's when after he left actually, is when I text Alyssa and was like, there's this guy that came up here looking for you. So she immediately texted me back and was like, oh yeah, I know him, but I don't personally know him. I know who you're talking about. And I was like, she said you gave him free tickets, and she was like, I did only, she was like, I don't remember if she gave him free tickets or she gave him like a discount, but either way, she helped him out. So she was like, yeah, he was like really weird, and I just wanted to get him, out of my face and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, that's understandable. So it was the next time he appeared, we were actually both at work. It started off as a joke. He came in and she ran to the back and she was like, tell him I'm not here. So I'm like, okay, apparently she's freaked out about him, so I'm going to help her out. I'm going to tell him that she's not here. So she went to the back area where we keep like most of our stock, meaning like the soda can juices that you refill. He was like, oh hey, is Minnie here today? And I'm like, no, she's not here today. He was like, well, can you help me out with the tickets or whatever? And I'm like, I can't. We just can't do that. Like, especially for Star Wars. It was Star Wars. And there was no way at all, because Star Wars was one of those movies that was sold out almost immediately for the first showing that the movie came out, meaning that Thursday night and that Friday first showing. And he was like, okay, well, I guess I'll go pay for a ticket. And again, he started talking to me, and I'm like, he's trying again to get these tickets out of me. So it kind of threw me off when he was like, well, can I get your number? And I'm like, no, not at all. Like, no, I don't know you. I just don't know you. Like, we're not cool enough for you to get my number. And I'm thinking it's like, I just don't know. Like, I don't know. Another couple, I don't know how long it went by in between all this, because I'm not thinking nothing of it. So the third time when it really crept me out was when he came up there, and it looked like he had just came from the mall, because there was the movie theater that was in the parking lot of the mall. He came in, I'm like, okay, at this point I'm like, something's up. And when he came in and straight away like started having conversation and asked for my number again, that's when I felt like, this is getting out of hand, because this time he didn't ask for her, he asked for me. Because I immediately like ran to the back, because I started feeling creeped out about him. And they said he asked for me. He asked my friend Alyssa if he could have my number, and didn't even want a movie ticket this time. Like, he just straight rushed in, started having a conversation, asked for my number. And when they told him no, it was like, what? After that, that's when I started getting worried. I started actually getting terrified, because like now at this point, they are saying he only comes on days where I worked. Because at the time, I'm in school, so I can only work Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and I worked, I believe, Tuesdays. And the way the shifts work, where you can come basically from 10 to 8, and most likely you'll overlap everybody's schedule. And on Tuesdays, because I'm in school and I look so young, I'm in school, I can only work after 5 o'clock. It became weird. And the next time he came in, again, he looked for me. So at this point, I'm so terrified that I run to the movie theater, the back where like all the movie theaters were. So I'm in the hallway, and the managers were looking at me crazy. So they told them, I think he has a stalker. Like, this guy's fourth, fifth time coming in here looking for him. And the manager was like, what? And they were like, yes, like this, he legit has a stalker now. So the managers, what they did was, the first time when they knew, they let him come in, and they let me, because I was already gone, they let me just go because I felt uncomfortable, they let me do that. And we all had walkie-talkies, so I had a walkie-talkie with me, and they told everybody, first of all, turn your walkie-talkies down, because he bought a movie ticket, and I didn't know this at the time. He bought a movie ticket and was walking to the back where I was, and they were like, Keith, he's coming back there. You need to get in any theater but this theater. So I went into one of the biggest movie theaters where it was no people in there, and they just got done cleaning it, waiting for the movie to start. Well, not the movie to start, but they were waiting for actual people to, line up so they can tell them to go ahead. Like, I felt like I was being watched. And one of the coworkers, I felt like I was being watched. And when I heard on the walkie that he was coming back there, I didn't know what to do because I was by myself. After he went into his theater, of course, I had to get back to work. I didn't want to leave them because, first of all, it was really busy. And I went back to concession. And I remember them saying, they gave me a plan. They said, when that movie releases, you can go into the box office, which was during the daytime. The glare from the sun made it to where you couldn't see in. Well, yeah, you couldn't see in if you were outside of it, but we could see out. And they were like, just stay in there. When we tell you that movie is about to end, just go in there. Which was good because at the time, that was the busy time where movies were ending, but no movies were gonna start for another 2 hours. So we had a big break for people to leave and be cool. So I remember being in concession, and I remember just getting that call that theater is dropping right now. All I could do was just go to the box office, and I didn't even stand up. I went into the corner and ducked off because it was so traumatic, because you never know is he gonna keep on harassing me. So the last encounter that I could remember was him coming back up there, because after that we all made a plan for my managers to confront him and tell him what you're doing is wrong, what you're doing is scaring people, and we need you to either, if you come here, do not talk to him whatsoever. And they told me if this continues, you might have to get a restraining order for him. And I remember I was I don't want it to have to go that far, but at the same time, I just didn't know what to do, because at the time, I want to say I was 17, not even 18 yet. So I was just stuck. And I had to think about that, that whole time before I seen him again. What if he pops, what if he follows me home one day? And then it actually was a relief the next time he came in there, because we found out that he was actually gay, and he walked in with what was his boyfriend, because the same girl that intentionally first had the encounter with him at the job seen him walking with that man on one of the popular streets in Beaumont, holding hands and everything, and they apparently lived together. So one, that was a weight lifted off my shoulder, knowing that he wasn't gonna harass me ever again. But at the same time, I didn't know. So he came in there with the boyfriend and completely ignored me, which people would have taken that as a sign of disrespect, because you were just trying to talk to me. But at the same time, it wasn't even at the same time. I was relieved, because I'm he ain't got nothing to do with me. This is over now. This is completely over. But at the same time, they still had a backup plan saying, they still went and talked to him, but they waited till he was separated from his lover and confronted him in the hallway as he was coming out the restroom and saying, you made one of our employees. We're gonna need you to stop trying to pursue whatever you're doing and just stop. Like, you're making him very uncomfortable. And that's why I really love that job, because they actually had my back. Not only like my friends that worked there, but the people that were in the manager positions, they had my back. They were the ones that actually went up to him and told him, you know, stop, you're making this man uncomfortable. If you keep on doing this, we're gonna have to ban you from this theater, because at this point you're messing with other people's like mental state. So after that, I want to say he stopped coming, because we had another movie theater in our city. It was only 2 movie theaters. I'm from Beaumont, so there was, oh crap. But anyway, that's in my description. You can figure it out anyway. So he stopped coming. So I'm guessing he went to the other theater. I don't know, but he stopped coming, and that was like the end of that. So I actually, after a period of time, started getting comfortable again at my own job, which is ridiculous. But that was my story about the time I had a stalker. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this. And I can't even end this the way I want to. Like, I'm not in the right hyped. Just, I don't know. I'm gonna find some way to edit this. This is just bringing back like all kind of flashbacks. But yeah.